are now watching The Beach.
Welcome to Trash or Treasure Battle Royale. This series will put two games in the ring and see which one will win the brawl. This episode is dedicated to Santa Claus. Why is that? With Christmas coming up, I have a good feeling not only will the eggnog in the fridge start disappearing, but that the elves might have a little bit of errors passing over the Christmas list. A boy puts Super Mario Bros. Switch on his list, hoping for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but instead, Krampus comes along and instead gives him new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. In all seriousness, well, there's a possibility of that happening. The main reason why I wanted to do this episode is because Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the first 2D Mario game in nearly 11 years, and considering new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is on the same console, albeit being a port of a Wii U game, many want to know how they compare. Primarily more casual Mario fans, because if you're a huge Mario fan like I am, you might be laughing at the idea, how can you even compare a game with so much love, charm, and passion put into it to Super Mario Bros. Wonder? All joking aside, you might end up very surprised, because new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe actually manages to have things that still stand out and give the game an edge, and they're not what you'd expect. With that being said, we'll be putting Super Mario Bros. Wonder and new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe in the ring, and seeing which game will win the brawl. So get ready to rumble, and let the brawl begin! Webster's Dictionary defines a cliche intro as one that starts with Webster's Dictionary defines. But what is a video game? It's an electronic game in which players control images on a video screen, be it on a TV or a handheld. The first thing you'll be doing is looking at a game. In other words, the graphical presentation. Since it's the first thing you'll be seeing, it's the first aspect we'll be going over. Graphical and art direction are very important, and anyone who tells you otherwise is probably a Pokemon fanboy. Let's start with new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This was the very first Mario game to be in HD. Originally, it was released for the Wii U, which apparently nobody had, so this qualifies as a new game, right? That is, unless you're part of the 13 million elite. It did receive a resolution boost on Switch, going from 720 to 1080p, but other than that, it remains the same. New Super Mario Bros. U is not a bad looking game. Everything looks polished and quite clean. It's colorful as well, and everything looks good. But the thing is, it just looks like a Mario game. It's about as vanilla as you can get. The HD is used to have more detailed backgrounds and such, but nearly everything about the game is just typical Mario. Outside the final world having a unique twist, and the Starry Night-inspired level painted swampland, it's incredibly forgettable from a visual perspective. This is by very definition, stock Mario, great value Mario, market pantry Mario. It might look nice, but it's nothing impressive. Now let's take a look at Super Mario Bros. Wonder. This is the first 2D Mario game since the very first new Super Mario Bros. All the way back in 2006 to go for a completely new art style. The best way to describe it is 3D characters and models, but with the animation of 2D cartoon characters. Visually, it might not look just like the box art, like new Super Mario Bros. U, and that's by no means a negative, because it is stylized. There's a lot more detail, the environments also have distinct theming, but the real highlight is just how expressive the characters are. Everything you do feels like an event. Mario and Luigi have their hats fall after a jump. They even grab them going through pipes. Even the enemies are expressive. It's not only impressive, but it's just so entertaining and fun to look at. Easily one of the best looking 2D platformers ever made. Think of it this way. If new Super Mario Bros. U is a boring oak tree that primarily serves to annoy you in the springtime, then Super Mario Bros. Wonder is an enchanted tree in a magical forest. Both look nice, but that enchanted tree will stay with you for life. Wouldn't be a Nintendo retrospective without a tree comparison. Super Mario Bros. Wonder gets the point for graphical presentation, and it's not even close. You wanna know what's even less close? The music. The jelly to the peanut butter of a game's presentation. I'm just gonna say it, New Super Mario Bros. U sounds bad. The music sounds like stock music, and most of it isn't even new. It's recycled from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. While there are some great compositions, specifically the Snow Overworld and final level theme, nothing else stands out much, and the music overall isn't good. There was this time in 7th grade where we were having a class Christmas party, and one teacher, Ms. Z, decided to use Christmas against us. They didn't like me and claimed I got 3 silent lunches before the party. Therefore, I was in detention while everyone else partied. There were 2 other students in detention with me, and one of them randomly started singing the overworld for New Super Mario Bros. I don't know why. That's not why I'm not a fan of the New Super Mario Bros. U soundtrack, just a story from my bizarre past. And Ms. Z, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing terribly. Taking away Christmas, the one thing kids look forward to, just so you could be on your power trip. Oh, you're gonna take away Christmas from elementary school and middle school students? Wow, you must be real tough. She had no business being a teacher. She was more like a dictator. If the fat man in Korea ever falls, now that's more her territory. Just thinking about it, I'm getting a little furious. But to calm down my instinctive gator rage, why not listen to the soundtrack of Super Mario Bros. Wonder? The music threw me off at first, because after years of hearing Bacapella, I was stunned. The music of a new 2D Mario game is actually incredible? Wow. There are so many incredible compositions, every situation has a fitting theme, and they sound incredible. In fact, I'm listening to the Underground theme while I worked on this video. That's how good it is. It's so good, I listen to it outside of when I play the game. That's not even accounting for the cheerful talking flowers. On top of the amazing soundtrack, you also have these lovely talking flowers sharing words of encouragement or giving helpful hints. They put me in an even better mood while I'm playing the game, and I'm already in a trance of euphoria while I play it. It's no wonder why it's so hard to stop playing Wonder. Point easily goes to Super Mario Bros. Wonder for music and sound design. We haven't even gotten into the gameplay, yet Wonder is already winning with flying colors, but as with any Mario game, gameplay is going to be the ultimate test. Mario games are known to have some excellent level design. Super Mario Bros. Made 2D platformers become mainstream, and it's hard to find a Mario game with bad level design. I said hard, not impossible! New Super Mario Bros. U manages to have some solid level design. It's a good balance between challenging and accessible, not too easy, but by no means too difficult. There's a good amount of platforming and enemy tackling, and some levels have some pretty cool gimmicks. My favorite levels being Flip Rust Lake, which has the Flip Rust enemies throwing snowballs at you. And of course, Painted Swampland. From solely a design perspective, New Super Mario Bros. U has some good levels, but there's a caveat. They're designed in a way that makes them feel automated. You can tell where every block and enemy was placed, and despite how good the level design might be, there's a lack of soul that prevents these levels from feeling organic most of the time. You can't really interact with the environment, and nothing really stands out. It causes the levels to just blend together and not leave an impact, outside of a select few. Then there's also a time limit. This serves as a nuisance. It was made during an era where games had to be more difficult because they couldn't hold a lot of data. Otherwise, the games could be beaten within a few hours. But tell me this, can you name any modern 2D platformers that have a timer? This guy is the only one who I've seen defend it. Considering he's so devastated I wasted 9 minutes of his life, it's clear he has a deep love for the timer that pretty much nobody else has. But another thing I noticed going back to New Super Mario Bros. U, it's kinda slow. The controls are fine, but the movement and overall pacing are kind of slow, making it a little bit of a slog to go back to. This wasn't something I noticed before, but it's all the more apparent after playing Wonder. Now let's take a look at Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Structurally, it still has very Mario-esque level design, meaning there are many levels, but most last between 2 to 4 minutes. Could be even less if you speedrun, and that's okay. Not every 2D platformer needs to be Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze or Rayman Legends. It's what makes Mario unique. There's also no timer this time around, which is an absolute game changer. You can explore levels however long you'd like, and don't have that burden anymore. The core level design I found to be crafted much better than New Super Mario Bros. U, not only because of the levels just being designed better, but because the levels are lively and are full of energy. I've gone on about the characters being very expressive, but each level does something new. This is primarily because of the brand new Wonder Flowers. These alter the level when you use them. Things can happen such as pipes squirming around, a buffalo stampede, buffalo gals, hopping hippos falling from the sky, and so many other fun and surprising moments. Hence the name, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. You always wonder what levels will have in store. Not only that, the levels feel organic. You can water flowers and interact with flowers to obtain coins and purple coins. I'm always excited to go back to Wonder's levels, and even though I've seen everything, the Wonder effects are still a blast, even though I know what they do. New Super Mario Bros. U has good level design, but nothing else. Super Mario Bros. Wonder has better level design, and the Wonder effects. Not only that, they just go above and beyond overall. Point for level design goes to Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It seems that New Super Mario Bros. U doesn't hold a chance, but this is an area that proved to be very close between the two games. Power-ups are some of the most fun aspects of Mario games. Whenever a new one is announced, you're always going to be excited to see what the new power-ups are, and which ones return. New Super Mario Bros. U actually managed to have more power-ups than Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We got the classics, the Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, and Starman. We also have the Ice Flower returning from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. But we also have the brand new Super Acorn, which turns Mario and friends into flying squirrels, which allows you to glide and boost. I love the flying squirrel concept. As someone who has pet sugar gliders, it reminds me of them. Though to be completely transparent, sugar gliders are marsupials, not rodents. Don't you dare call them the mice. For that, I can't help but like it. As a power-up, it's quite useful even if it's not groundbreaking. The best flight power-up is still the raccoon suit, but there's also the Pea Acorn, which allows for unlimited boosting. You can get these rare acorns after catching Nabbit, but they only last for one level. The Propeller Mushroom and Penguin suit also returned from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. In the original on Wii U, they were extremely rare, and could only be found in the Toad houses in the Special World, but in the Switch port, you can obtain them via enemy courses, albeit rarely. While they are more common, they're not frequent enough to highlight them. The Mini Mushroom also returns, but we're talking about power-ups, not power-downs. Speaking of power-downs, there's the ridiculous edition of the new Super Crown. It's a power-up only Toadette can use, which turns Toadette into Peachette. For some reason, this made the internet explode. Peachette is apparently hot. Yeah, no thanks, I'll stick to Latinas. Outside the meme surrounding Peachette, it's a power-up that's virtually the same as a Super Acorn. It's pointless, it's absurd, and it just makes you wonder, why not just have Peach playable? That's only accounting for the traditional power-ups, because U also has Yoshi. He acts the same as he did in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, meaning he's only limited to a few levels, and you can't take him out of them. But there are also the baby Yoshis, 3 of them. By holding them and pressing ZR, you can use their abilities. The magenta one inflates, just like a balloon. The gold one lights up dark areas, and the blue one can blow bubbles to create platforms and take out enemies. Now why does that sound familiar? At the time, I thought the baby Yoshis were cool, but the problem is, it also brings along the task of babysitting. You constantly have to hold on to them. I'm thinking of the song, "Do not hold on to it, do not hold on to it," the Ulsa thing, but instead of bursting into laughter, I'm just more annoyed. I don't really want to use these baby Yoshis, but if I leave them in a level, I'll feel bad doing it. And I brought that up specifically in my retrospective of New Super Mario Bros. U. It seems Nintendo took that criticism to heart, because in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the Bubble Baby Yoshis evolved into the Bubble Flower, which is way more fun and practical to use. And that's only one of the power-ups. There's also the Drill Mushroom, which allows Mario and friends to go underground, even above ground. It's a very useful and versatile power-up, but it wouldn't be Super Mario Bros. Wonder without the Elephant Fruit, which allow Mario and friends to transform into literal elephants. You can whack enemies with your trunk, grab heavy obstacles, and spray water to revive droopy flowers, and you can break bricks from the side. It's incredibly silly, but the characters just look so cool. You feel like a mighty elephant. And of course, it's quite useful. The Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, and Starman also return. The thing is, Wonder only has 6 power-ups, but the way they're handled is different than U. In U, you're primarily just using the Super Acorn and Fire Flower, sometimes the Ice Flower, but the other power-ups are just too infrequent. Having the P Acorns be rare makes absolute sense, and that's a good thing. They're powerful and intentionally are overpowered. That way you'll only use them in levels you really need to, and they only last for one level. But the Penguin Suit and Propeller Mushroom are so infrequent, you're more likely just to hold on to them because they're rare. But Wonder doesn't have this problem. All of the power-ups shine about equally, with none of them being too common or too rare, encouraging using all of them. Even the classic Fire Flower really shines bright. I do wish there were a few more. A flight power-up would have been nice, and I would have loved to see the Ice Flower return. But it also has the badges and Wonder effects that provide different styles of gameplay. But the reason why power-ups in Wonder manage to be better is because of how they're handled. Point goes to Super Mario Bros. Wonder for power-ups. However, it's worth noting that U has more and came close, but perhaps it may be able to win the next category. Show 'em who's boss. I don't think I'm gonna break many hearts saying that Mario games have historically had an issue with boss battles. This isn't even a recent issue. Mario games have always had that problem. You had Boom Boom in Super Mario Bros. 3, who was a pushover then, and has remained one now. Yeah, real worthy of replacing the Kremlings as goalies. And even bosses like the Brutals in Super Mario Odyssey are too easy to take out. 3D Mario does tend to fare better, especially Sunshine and Galaxy 2, but 2D Mario, the only boss fights that stand out are when the bosses are either all original like in Mario 2 and Land 2, or even the first New Super Mario Bros. But when they're not, they're too easy and also forgettable. New Super Mario Bros. U has the Koopalings as bosses. It was really cool seeing them return in Wii, but they really started to overstay their welcome with 2 and U. Some of the ideas are cool. I like that Roy has a Bullet Bill Bazooka, but they're too easy and just not memorable. Look at this! Look at this Boom Boom fight right here. Do you consider this a boss battle? Only one boss in the game is original, and it's just a large variation of an enemy. I'm fine with the Koopalings, and I genuinely love them, but why not have the Koopalings be the tower bosses instead of just Boom Boom? Then, the castles could have original bosses. Problem solved. I don't understand why the developers think having you go up against the same boss is clever or interesting. It's the same problem I have with the repetitive Reznors in New Super Mario Bros. 2. So really, you got Boom Boom, the Koopalings, and Bowser Jr. That and a final boss along with a few others. Though does Boom Boom even qualify as a boss? Super Mario Bros. Wonder, on the other hand, did something I never could have imagined with bosses. It made me miss the Koopalings. When it comes to boss variety, oh boy, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is much, much worse. Considering the game is still new, I won't spoil the boss fights, but if you know, you know. The bosses are the weakest aspect of the game. There's no variety, and it's especially shocking considering how 75% of the enemies in Wonder are brand new. I'd take the Koopalings under Wonder effects. Heck, even huge versions of the new enemies under Wonder effects over what we got. There's no variety when it comes to the bosses, but are the fights bad in Wonder? they're alright. Each boss battle uses different wonder effects, making them play out differently despite having the same layout. Not great, but not terrible. Whereas in U, all the fights are underwhelming. I will say, New Super Mario Bros. U would have won this category had it not been for the final boss. The one in U is good, but nothing spectacular. But in Wonder, I found it to be so incredible that I could at least live with the subpar prior bosses. It's not going to be a final boss everybody loves, many would expect more out of it, but personally, I found it to be so unexpected, and just right up my alley, that I absolutely loved it. Points go to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, simply because the battles themselves are more interesting, even if the bosses lack variety. But this is an area that's like comparing peanut butter to salsa. In other words, bosses in Mario games do not go well at all. The multiplayer in New Super Mario Bros. Wii holds a special place in my heart. My brother and I used to fight like crazy growing up, but we came to a truce, stopping beating each other up, to sit on the couch and play some New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I'd play as Mario, and he'd choose a Toad. We had a blast. Nowadays, my brother and I get along just fine. But it's interesting to look back and see how just one game kept us out of the hospital. The multiplayer in New Super Mario Bros. U is identical to Wii, meaning that there's player collision and you can interact with each other. It's pretty manageable with 2 players, maybe 3, but it can also get very chaotic. There are also some multiplayer side modes, such as Coin Battle and Boost Rush. I didn't play these much, but they're nice modes to have. Now in the Wii U original, multiplayer was actually better. There was a boost mode, which allowed another player to place platforms on the gamepad to help Mario out. Essentially, a little brother mode, but it was kinda neat. But the main reason why it was better in the original is because all 4 players were on an even playing field. Whereas in U Deluxe on the Switch, one player always has to be either Toadette or Nabbit, the easy mode characters. It's even worse in Luigi U, where 2 players must be Nabbit and Toadette. Meanwhile, Buckenberry is right there! The fact that there's not an option for fair 4-player multiplayer is just baffling, and it's the main reason why U Deluxe is worse than the original. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, on the other hand, has 4-player co-op, but it's designed differently. Players can no longer bump into each other, allowing for a much smoother and less hectic experience. My friend Riley and I were playing it for hours, and the time just flew by. It really isn't much different than playing it solo, but it's still great. Most importantly, you have the option for fair 4-player multiplayer. No players will be restricted to Yoshi or Nabbit. If the multiplayer was the same as the Wii U original, it might come close. But since we're talking about U Deluxe, the point for multiplayer goes to Super Mario Bros. Wonder. In terms of content, New Super Mario Bros. U's main story mode is about what you'd expect from a 2D Mario game. It's the perfect length, where it's not too long, but also not too short. You'll need to collect all the star coins, beat every level, find every secret exit, and catch Nabbit in every world to 100% the game. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a similar story. Length is about the same, though perhaps a bit longer. In Wonder, you'll need to beat every level, collect every Wonder Seed, standee, and 10 purple coin, find every secret exit, and reach the top of the flagpole to 100% the game. U Deluxe was a slog to complete. I found the game to be bland and boring, but Wonder was pure bliss. The only reason why I thought it might have been too short is because I loved it so much, I just wanted to keep on playing. So I did. I'm on my 2nd playthrough, though I do think an extra world or 2 would have been beneficial. But with Wonder, all you're getting is the main story mode. There aren't any additional modes or side content. That is unlike New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. The main story mode is not great. However, the side modes are where U Deluxe really starts to shine. There's a challenge mode that has dozens of challenges to complete, things like getting 1-ups, not touching coins, not touching the ground, and speedrunning. You can even play as your Mii. These challenges are an absolute blast, and it's easily the best aspect of the game. After replaying challenge mode, I really wish Wonder brought it back, because it's a lot of fun, and not only brings in more variety, but can also bring in some pretty extreme challenge. This is the only reason why I'd ever go back to New Super Mario Bros. U. Yeah, I said I wouldn't go back to Mario U, but did I say I wouldn't go back to Luigi U? New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe has a silver bonsai bill, a secret weapon, that being the challenge mode, but it also has an emerald green bonsai bill with New Super Luigi U. New Super Luigi U was originally DLC for Mario U, but it got a standalone physical release with the really cool green case. For that reason, it's why many, including myself, consider it to be its own game rather than just DLC. That, and the year of Luigi never ending in the Demiche household. New Super Luigi U puts Luigi in the spotlight with Mario nowhere to be found. The presentation and world map are the same, but the levels couldn't be more different. Luigi U focuses on speedrunning and challenging levels. You have just 99 seconds to complete each level, making the experience a lot faster paced. It's a completely different vibe from Mario U, and is unlike any other 2D Mario game. The levels are also far more memorable, and each level has a hidden Luigi you can spot, giving the presentation some much needed personality and soul. It's not for everyone, but I personally love New Super Luigi U. Because of challenge mode in New Super Luigi U, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe finally gets a point. Point for side modes goes to New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe managed to get a pretty hefty point for side content, especially with Luigi U. And it did come close with the power-ups, but Super Mario Bros. Wonder went into this fight and went out with flying colors. It's no contest. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is hands down the best of the 2D Mario games on Switch, and it's not even close. We got a winner. If you're debating between the two, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is the game you'll want. Nearly everything about it is incredible. It has excellent and creative gameplay, especially with the Wonder Flowers, a gorgeous presentation, and just the love, charm, and passion put into it not only makes it a game that's 100% factually hit, but a game that'll leave a lasting impact for generations to come. I knew Super Mario Bros. Wonder was going to win, but I was a little bit surprised that New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe still has some notable redeeming aspects. I do wish you could just purchase New Super Luigi U separately, because that game is still worth playing. You're better off getting U Deluxe on sale and getting Wonder, but if you had to choose between just one, I'd take Super Mario Bros. Wonder any day, because it is truly wonderful! So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and keep calm and dada on.